The tension in the chamber was sharp even before the session began. The congressional hearing on judicial overreach had drawn more attention than expected, largely because Representative Jasmine Crockett was on the witness list. She had gained a reputation for speaking hard truths without apology. Opposite her sat Chief Justice John Roberts, invited to give testimony on the Supreme Court's role in recent decisions that critics claimed stripped away civil liberties. No one expected fireworks until Roberts veered off script and made a snide remark about Crockett's legal education, as Crockett questioned the lack of accountability in the judiciary. Roberts cut in, tone tight with condescension. "With all due respect, Congresswoman Crockett, perhaps if your legal education came from a more rigorous institution, you'd understand the constitutional principles better." The room stiffened. Crockett paused, lifted her head slowly, and met his eyes. "Excuse me?" she said evenly. A few murmurs swept across the chamber. The Chief Justice had just made it personal, and Jasmine Crockett was not one to leave a personal shot unanswered. She leaned toward the mic. "My education came from the Thurgood Marshall School of Law, where we don't just memorize the Constitution, we apply it, something you've conveniently avoided in multiple majority opinions." The audience stirred, but she didn't stop there. "And since we're questioning qualifications now, I hope you're ready to have yours examined, Chief Justice." That line hit like a brick. Roberts blinked, clearly not expecting retaliation. Cameras zoomed in. Phones lit up. Social media was already burning. Roberts tried to regain ground, stating, "My record is publicly available. I've served with distinction." Crockett tilted her head slightly. Let's talk about that record. You claim a JD from Harvard, correct?" He nodded. "Then how do you explain the inconsistencies in the alumni records from your graduating class, the conflicting citations in your early clerkship records, and the memo that recently surfaced showing your academic leave was never officially cleared by the university registrar?" Silence blanketed the room. The Chief Justice didn't answer. He fumbled with his notes. Crockett pressed on, pulling out a folder. "These documents obtained via FOIA request show enough red flags to make a traffic cop faint. We're talking about falsified student ID logs, unmatched clerkship assignment dates, and even a forged signature on your internship clearance forms." A legal bomb had been dropped. It was no longer about opinions or education. She was now challenging the very legitimacy of his degree. Roberts shook his head slowly, his face red with discomfort. "This is beneath the dignity of this chamber," he muttered. Crockett didn't budge. "What's beneath the dignity of this chamber is a Chief Justice who thinks he can use his seat to belittle others while hiding skeletons in his own closet. If you want to insult my education, come correct, or don't come at all." Applause broke out before the gavel slammed down, but the damage had been done. The whole nation was watching. Legal scholars on cable news scrambled to verify the documents Crockett produced. Within hours, credible analysts began confirming the discrepancies. A former Harvard law administrator anonymously admitted there had been rumors for years about a high-profile student whose academic record didn't match their public profile. Though no names were given, the implication was clear. Crockett hadn't just taken on the Chief Justice, she may have just cracked open a national scandal. The next day, headlines exploded. "Crockett versus Roberts. A showdown of truth and power," read one. Another said, "Fake degree. Jasmine Crockett demands investigation into Chief Justice's credentials." Social media turned Crockett into a hero, particularly among young Black lawyers and activists who had often felt disrespected by institutional gatekeepers. "This is what fearless representation looks like," one tweet said, garnering over 200,000 likes. Back in Washington, the House Oversight Committee demanded clarification from the Supreme Court. A formal inquiry was proposed to investigate the allegations. Chief Justice Roberts released a brief statement denying all claims and calling them politically motivated. Crockett responded with a calm but cutting retort. "If truth is political, then maybe the problem is how much your court has made justice partisan." Academic institutions joined the fray. Law schools began requesting Harvard issue a formal statement verifying Roberts' degree. The university, notably silent for the first 48 hours, finally said they were reviewing archival records in response to public concern. That vague statement only fueled speculation. Crockett, meanwhile, kept her focus sharp.
Hey, this is
Not about ego, she said in an MSNBC interview. This is about integrity. No one should sit at the top of a judicial system built on truth while hiding their own. The American Bar Association announced an independent ethics. Panel 2, investigate the broader implications of falsified credentials in high office. Roberts, who had spent decades avoiding controversy, now found himself under a magnifying glass. Crockett, however, remained unshaken.
no.
I did not enter this hearing to start a fire, she said, but I won't apologize if exposing the truth means some paper shields burn. Other justices privately expressed concern about the scandal's impact on the court's credibility. A leaked email from a senior justice read, "Whether true or not, these allegations will haunt our chamber until they're addressed transparently." Public trust in the court, already under pressure, plummeted in polls. Crockett's approval ratings soared. People saw her not just as a representative, but as a defender of institutional honesty. Attempts to smear her followed quickly. Anonymous sources claimed she'd exaggerated her academic accomplishments. But within hours, her records were made public, accurate, consistent, and unimpeachable. "This is how you answer doubt," she tweeted, attaching verified transcripts. With receipts. "Try it, John." The tweet broke the internet. Even celebrities joined in, praising her courage. Crockett brought truth to the courtroom like it was closing argument night. One late-night host joked, "In the following hearing, Roberts appeared flustered, rarely engaging directly with Crockett. When asked about judicial independence, he kept answers vague." Crockett pressed him again. "How can you demand respect for a position when you may have entered it with deception?" He stammered through legal jargon. But the clarity of her question lingered in every reporter's notepad. The House Judiciary Subcommittee began drafting legislation requiring more transparency in the background checks of federal judges. "Shouldn't take a congresswoman's courage to make honesty a requirement," one representative said. Crockett was asked to co-sponsor the bill, and she accepted. The proposed Judicial Credential Integrity Act would become one of the most discussed pieces of legal reform in decades. Still, Roberts refused to step down or recuse himself. But pressure was mounting. Editorial boards across the nation called for a full investigation. Law clerks began anonymously speaking to journalists about odd gaps in his judicial history. The once unquestionable figure of Chief Justice, John Roberts, was now a man with shadows chasing every step. Crockett returned to the floor to deliver a fiery speech. "For too long, we've trusted robes without examining the people beneath them. But no title gives you immunity from truth. If the people must prove every credential to apply for a job, why shouldn't the highest court be held to the same?" The chamber erupted in standing ovation, not for a partisan win, but for principled courage. A documentary crew began filming. A special on the incident, titled "The Robe and the Receipt: When Truth Cross-Examined Power." Crockett, when asked what motivated her, simply replied, "Every time someone in power tries to make you feel small, it means they're scared you've seen the part they're hiding. If you have, you better speak." It was a line destined for history books. Whether Roberts' degree was truly fake or merely the result of procedural error remained under investigation. But what was undeniable was the shift Jasmine Crockett had caused. No longer could credentials be taken at face value without accountability. Her challenge had redrawn the lines of what it meant to check power with evidence and courage. So yes, act. Roberts attacked Jasmine Crockett's education. But instead of backing down, she lifted the curtain. She didn't just defend her degree, she demanded proof of his, when in doing so, she taught every watching American that respect is not given based on title, but on truth. When the dust settled, one thing was clear. Jasmine Crockett didn't just win a debate, she rewrote the rules of engagement.